Oh man, I am too tall for this. Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to yet another video. So today I'm going to be doing a dual PC build. I'm taking all the old parts from my old PC, putting it into my old PC case, and then grabbing all my new parts and putting it into my new PC case. So let's get straight to work. My old PC rocked a RTX 3060, a Ryzen 5 5600, and an MSI B550 gaming edge Wi-Fi motherboard. I currently do not have it in display because I have most of the parts already inside the old PC. And for cooling, my old PC was using this Kraken X53. However, I'm going to be transferring over that to my new PC because I'm using the stock cooler for my old PC. So with my newer PC, I went ahead and got a Intel Core 14th Gen i9 14900K. For the motherboard, I went with a Z790 Aorus Elite AX, RTX 4080 Super
for my GPU.
And then for fans, I went for some RGB Antec 120mm fans. Nothing too special, just some simple fans. And for my RAM, we'll be running some CORSAIR Vengeance RGB DDR5 sticks, totaling in 64 gigabytes. Plenty for me. And to power this beast of the machine, I'm going to be using a Seasonic Focus GX 1000 watt power supply. Alright, so now all that's left of this PC is to go ahead and finish wiring and install the graphics card, and this PC is ready to go. Man. Man, I'm really gonna miss using my 3060. Alrighty, let's go ahead and grab this and plug it in and let's give it a little test drive. Cross your fingers, I might have missed something. About to find out right now. Ironically, my power supply has given out. I've tried jumping it and the fan just does not want to spin, so I'm gonna have to put this project aside and focus on my new computer. Alright, so now it is time for the exciting part. Let's carefully take out the motherboard and get ready to install the processor. So let's now take out the Intel Core i9. I'm used to working with Ryzen CPUs, so when I first took this out, I was like, wait a minute, this is a little small. And I did purchase a contact frame, so I can go ahead and install that as well. Alright, then next I'll install the 64 gigabytes of RAM. In my opinion, this is the best PC ASMR you can get. Next, we're going to go ahead and install the motherboard into the case. I'm going to grab this by the sides. Now, saving the best component for last, the 4080 Super. I remember pulling this thing out of the box and thinking this thing is absolutely massive. It is a good weight, absolutely clean look, and a pretty good card for its price tag. It also comes with the anti-slag support, which is very handy. So fast forward a couple of months video. This is supposed to be posted like a while ago. This dual computer setup. It's been so long. I got a dog now. What's up, Arthur? Who's a good boy? Who's a good boy? Go ahead. Good boy. Yeah. Anyway, update. So I knocked out a few capacitors by accident on my old motherboard. And yeah, I was debating about just getting a whole new motherboard. But then, me personally, I don't like being wasteful. So what would I do with the old one? I knew someone on the MSI forum or Reddit had the same exact problem I'm having with the same module on the back of the motherboard. And what they did is they ordered or requested the specifications for parts from MSI, which is the manufacturer of the motherboard. And they gave them the specifics, the values, and all they had to do was just buy the parts and solder it all back together, and it's working fine. And I tried doing the same exact thing, which is another story. Contact the support, see if they can give me the specifics, send them photos, all the reference photos that I had of the same forum post from the other guy. And the only responses I'm getting is, unfortunately, that information is not available anymore. Or something like, oh, physical damage is not covered under warranty. Like, I don't care about warranty. Either way, I'm going to have to buy something. I don't care.
It is now December 10th, an entire almost 4 months of this project on it. But that's sometimes what happens with these projects, is things just don't go according to plan. So what I ultimately ended up doing was I went over to Best Buy and bought myself a brand new motherboard. I also recycled the broken motherboard while I was at it, because I simply was just not gonna get any way to repair it in time for the end of the year. So I still have the stock cooler for the CPU. It's still the Ryzen 5600, except I do have a quite funny story about that processor. I managed to bend some pins on that bad boy. I'll give you a rough story. So I put the PC together, turned it on, so I kept getting the CPU warning light. And so what I went to do is to take off the CPU to see if I might have accidentally inserted it wrong, which is a simple fix. I unscrewed the cooler, pulled it off, and what ended up happening is it pulled out the processor with the cooler. So I'm going to show you exactly what went down using my hands. Sorry about the camera position, I have nowhere else to put my phone. So here's the CPU cooler. The CPU itself, if you imagine it like face first against the cooler, the bottom of the cooler, it was like this. What I know to easily take that processor off the cooler without using any tools is by using your fingers gently on the edges and twist it kind of like you're opening a water bottle. So I start twisting it, but unfortunately for me, when I applied thermal paste, when I first installed it, I added too much. And so it started building up on my fingers a lot, and I was just like, okay, well, this is going to be a problem, because when I go to grab the CPU, that thermal paste is going to start spreading all over those pins. And so what I did was I was going to let go and grab a paper towel to wipe off my fingers, but as I did that, like kind of like string cheese, the thermal paste stretched out, and I was like, uh-oh, this is going to be a problem. And then, like, an elastic band, when you stretch it out and let go, it just went right back onto the processor, along the pins. And I was like, oh, that's real unfortunate, because now I have thermal paste on the pins of my CPU. Never had that happen before, but lucky me, I have a travel size toothbrush that I've never used that has pretty soft bristles. So what I did is I took the CPU with all the pins and I gently brushed it out, make sure all that thermal paste was out. Perfectly fine, no longer a problem. But that's not all. The CPU is still stuck to the bottom of that cooler. And so it's just like, okay, well, now I got thermal paste clean. Okay, I can now easily take this thing off. So I kept going back and forth until I had a bad grip on the processor. At this point, I didn't think it was going to come off yet. And so I wasn't trying to like manhandle this processor. I still had a light grip so I can turn it around, and it just goes pop. And I'm holding that processor. I'm working on a table in my living room. I use my hand. I'm now watching it as it goes. Lands on the table, pins down, bent a number of pins. Luckily, it wasn't like entire rows. It was just like kind of, if you imagine my hand as the processor, it's like a few pins here were bent, a few here, and a few like in the center. I was like, never dealt with bent pins before. So I did a lot of YouTube research, and they were like, oh, use a razor blade or something to get really in between those pins and gently move the pins back in place. And I was like, okay, sure, I got this. So I don't trust myself to use a razor pen because I can really mess up my fingers sometimes when I'm dealing with knives. So I have this nail clipping kit. It has this really paper thin little tab, and it's made of metal, so it's pretty sturdy, but it's also flexible, so it doesn't allow you to put too much pressure on something. And since the pins of the CPU are in rows and columns, like an array, they're simple to fix. I just like put the tool, slide it between all the pins, so gently bend them back in place. It was a simple fix. I got 99% of the bent pins. The researcher was like, oh, I could push that back. It's now horizontal. And there's nothing I can do about that. And with a gentle little push, the pin fell out. Now, with the very little amount of information I have about this pin, based on what I know, is it means it's a part of its internal graphics system inside the CPU. Don't know much about that. And it went to BIOS and it recognized the CPU. And I went through all the specs to make sure it's recognizing all the components on the motherboard. It seems fine. I don't have an SSD for this computer yet. Okay, she is now on. Press the power button. She boots up, and now right now I'm getting the CPU warning light. Fingers crossed will go away, and then it goes away. And now a light will come on. I think it's for the graphics card. That's because it's not plugged into any display right now. There it is. So now I'm getting the VGA debug light. Oh. Now it went down to its boot, since it's not going to boot. So the old motherboard I had was the MSI B550 Gaming Edge Wi-Fi, but this is a MSI B550 Gaming Pro motherboard. So that's what I have for the system. I still have the same CPU, just with a missing pin, same graphics card at 3060, 32 gigabytes of RAM, I believe.
So now with what I ultimately had planned for this video over with, I can finally take a step back and learn from my mistakes. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope you guys enjoyed this video just as much as I enjoyed making it. If you'd like to see more videos just like this, please feel free to subscribe, like, and comment down below because I'm sure there's going to be more coming. As always, have a wonderful rest of your day, and I hope to see you in the next video.